What are the key leadership skills in today's economy?
So today's economy, what we see is the pace is very high. Complexity goes up, there's a lot of uncertainty, also fears associated with it. So what do you really need as a leader there? You need to provide what I call a platform where people can really connect. So connection is an important issue. Can you connect with your people? Do you know the purpose, and can you translate purpose into a vision? And are you agile? Agility. And about the relationship between agility and vision, that's a really important one, because a lot of people have the idea if you have a certain vision, a certain purpose, that's static. That stays the same. That's true. But that doesn't mean that you only can do one action that's related to it. You need to see where your values within the market, within every opportunity you see, where you can find that value. So you can do it in different ways, different routes there, and that's the agility aspect.
Can you learn to be a leader, or are these innate traits?
It's an old question, and it's always debated. People like to discuss about it, but the fact that there are leadership programs like ours means, yes, it can be taught. Research actually shows that 30% of leadership effectiveness is determined by biological factors, 70% by environmental ones. So we focus very much, of course, on the environmental ones. In our programs, we're not going to change your personality because it's impossible, and so we don't delve into understanding why you are like this. You realize that you're like this. For example, we'll assess certain traits, but how can you use that best in changing circumstances? Because 70% of effective leadership is circumstances.
What is innovative in this new approach to leadership?
What I consider to be innovative is really our approach towards leaders as a platform. So the concept of platform is known to many people, I think, in terms of our digital economy, the business developments nowadays. We bring our customers and suppliers together. We do it online. But it's also an aspect that very much relates to leadership. So if we say leaders facilitate cultures, create cultures that help people build ownership where they will create value and own their job for real, then actually we're talking about a platform that a leader builds on values, certain values, a purpose that we want. We provide meaning. Employees are willing to buy into it, and that's where the magic should happen. Employees together will create value based on the norms, based on the expectations and the direction that has been set out by leadership, because that's the time you need as a leader. Because there's the favorite quote, leadership is what happens when you're not around. Well, leaders create platforms.
What is the embodiment of effective leadership?
Being able to make others perform better, to make them grow, and that they feel that, they have that sense of ownership of growth, because that gets the confidence. The reason why that's so important is because leadership is a two-way street. So a leader is not just one person. A leadership is a person in relationship to others to make something happen at the collective level. So you need to empower people. Benefit there is as well is that I always say leadership makes others better, so they have to do less. But to do less means not that you have a holiday then. To do less means then you have activated, motivated people with their passions. What are you going to do with that? What's your vision? What's your direction? What are the strategies that you're going to use this for in a value-driven way? And that's the job of a leader. All the other things, sticking to the person and making sure all the boxes are ticked, that's management.
Do we really need leadership?
That's an excellent question, because if you really think about it, leadership is a lousy way of running an organization, because it means that the organization can't regulate themselves, that the organization is poorly designed in terms of culture and systems. So unfortunately, yes, most of our companies are not designed very effectively. We need leadership. That's one way of looking at it. Second way is we also need leadership because they provide us something more, which relates to us as employees being social beings, being included in an organization as well. An organization is not a static entity where you just go to, you just do your task. No, you spend so many hours there. So you also create climate. As leaders, you also create a work climate where people feel included. So what we've seen, for example, in the financial crisis, where we've challenged now the financial incentives and bonus systems as the only motivation tool, a sense of inclusiveness, a sense of being valued, together with the empowerment that you own your job, is actually, on the long term, so much more valuable for people to stay in a job, but also to create value, to create some meaningful value, rather than just being paid for every unit you produce. So I think that's an important key aspect there.